Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome Thundy. Thanks so much for tuning in. Oh, there we go. Took game capture a second. Today I'm gonna try to get detonation round number 31 done. So we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I did want to show Thundy. I did want to show you my Glacio base since this is my main base of operations. I need to run this titanium to Novus. Because, yeah, Novus needs incredibly too much titanium. I said your name twice. Oh no, how dare I. So this is my auto smelter, which is fairly handy, because all I have to do is put a large resource canister of resources on the... you honor it so much. But anyway, all I have to do is put a large canister of resources on this, and the 10 furnaces will, well, they'll do their thing, and they'll smelt it 10 times as fast. So I'm going to leave it to do its thing while I show you the rest of the base. Let's see. Oh yes, this is my scrap processing facility. Believe it or not, all of this is to keep up with one small printer. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but that one tiny printer keeps up with this entire litany of scrap machines. And actually, this doesn't quite keep up. It kind of just overloads after a while. But the 400, since I only process like 400 at once, then it's really not all that. It's really not all that pressing, so it's at least workable for now. It really should be bigger, but anyway, this over here is my storage. I deal mainly in large resource canisters full of items. So we got my backup ammonium in case my ammonium supply ever runs dry, and we got my scrap from my scrap farms and everything. And then we got just general resources. Glacio is a really nice place to make a base, and if you make a base, I always recommend making it by a gateway chamber. This is kind of my gas depot, where I put together stuff for this automatic chemistry lab to, well, smelt together. Manage your channel directly from your phone. Thank you. I don't need to know that mobile live dashboard. Yeah. Oh, it's just doing weird stuff. Anyway, this is my automatic soil setup. All I have to do is hit go and repeat on these, and then this thing will fill up with organic. I don't really need organic right now, so I'm not gonna run it. But yeah, in the meantime, I noticed that this is functioning quite well. In the short time we've already smelted 67, 68, 69 nice resources on this auto smelter, and then we're almost down to halfway on this one, so it'll take a second to process through it, but it's pretty darn fast as compared to a normal smelter. And this is my friendly Boomalone plant that I planted. I didn't know where else to put it. So yes, this base is very disorganized, but you know, it's home. And also, Bundy, if you'll notice, I have I'm using the jetpack, the hoverboard while I fly. It actually increases the speed of jetpacks. So see, I've got 2 jetpacks right here. That's kind of fast, but then with the hoverboard, it gets noticeably faster even in the air. So I usually do this with my hoverboard out, even while I have my jetpacks. This is eventually going to be a rover unloading area. I just haven't gotten around to finishing it yet. Nobody seems to be interested in watching me do that, so mostly people are more interested in watching me do Novus project stuff, so that's usually what I do. Wish you still had your jetpacks. Yeah, I can't tell you how many of these I've gone through in the Novus project, whenever I accidentally blow myself up. Now, jetpacks didn't always used to blow up whenever the hydrazine attached to them blew up, but now they do, 100% of the time. It used to be like maybe the hydrazine had to be completely full or something for the jetpacks to go, but now if the hydrazine just goes at all, then they're gone. So yeah, I just went ahead and made myself a entire 400 worth of titanium alloy, so that way I can just print jetpacks on the spot whenever I need them, because I do tend to blow myself up rather frequently. Sometimes chat has something to do with it, and if you know it, you know. If you know it, you know it. But this is my rocket rover that I wanted to show you. I didn't get to show you earlier. And now that you've been to the triangle, as I call it, now you'll be able to kind of see some of the stuff that this can do. So this is just really, literally, 2 rockets on the back of a rover, and this auto arm will keep them full. I'm gonna put this this guy to output, so that way it will automatically it'll automatically refill whenever these rockets should happen to run out of fuel. This is my highway system, by the way, that I made with pavers. I don't use it a whole lot besides from rocket rover stuff. It's really just... It was really a navigation tool until the new compass came out. And then that new compass that came out kind of invalidated the need for it. But, I mean, it stops off at every gateway and it goes all the way around the planet. So, is what it is. But that's the journey to the core of the planet, by the way. I took a paver rover down to the core of the planet. Never doing that again. Rockets on a rover? Yes, indeed you can. Anyway, I do want to talk about first limits, about limits of this game. So first I'm going to hover over my rover seat. So you can use your jetpacks and everything right here, right? So there's actually 3 limits to the game. This is the first. If you see right here, I can't go up any higher with my jetpacks. So the jetpacks literally don't let you go any higher than this. But I mean, you can still go higher than this, it's just you can't go higher than that and have your jetpacks do anything. That's a jetpack ceiling. To see if I go above it with my rocket rover, and I hop out, then I can jump, but my jetpacks just don't work. My hoverboard fortunately still does work, but my jetpacks do not. So yeah. Anyway, it takes a long time with the normal rover to get up here because normal rovers are very slow. The rocket rover, fortunately, is not slow. So, yeah, we can just speed it up here. We're now headed to the second limit of the game. Hey. Almost fell off there. How high is the ceiling? Well, I'm about to show you. I also hope you're not afraid of heights, because that's first step's a doozy. Let me pause the rocket rover right here. Before we hit the next limit, which we're right underneath it, by the way, come out this way with me. Actually, wait. I'm gonna right-click over my. I'm gonna hold right-click over my seat. So if you'll notice, as long as I hold right-click down and I have my seat highlighted, I can just enter my seat from anywhere. So I can just hop off, then I can press F on the seat that I have highlighted, and suddenly I'm magically back in here. It's very handy. Anyway. That's just security in case I do happen to fall off. But this is a place where I paved all over the place. And I discovered when I got up to this level that I was really right next to where the shuttle was actually orbiting. And so I paved all the way out from there, where that beacon is, to over here. And I discovered that right here, where this gateway is exactly where the shuttle goes. Now, I don't have multiplayer to show you, but I can show you later when we launch in the shuttle. This the shuttle goes through this gateway every single time, and it actually triggers the gateway. Now, there's no real use for this per se, but it is interesting that it triggers the gateway while it's in orbit. I'm gonna hit F to teleport back, so I don't have to go all the way back there. Could be like a timer. The most that I can think of it is like an orbit counter, or like something to tell you where in the orbit somebody is. But there's not really a lot of use for it, to be honest. As much as I want there to be use for it. Anyway, I'm going to show you the second limit, and I call this the vehicle limit. And you'll see why, because everything's running normally right now, but if I go off this ramp right here, then suddenly... Stop it. A little bit of terrain right here. Suddenly I am weightless. And I can go right back down here, and you'll see the gravity suddenly take effect. But if you do not have a rocket rover beyond this point, you will be stuck. And I know that from personal experience. But yeah, if you watch right here, suddenly physics will take over right here. And now we're back into normal driving physics. And I'm going to get rid of that tiny little piece of soil. Hold on. Stupid little piece of soil. Okay, we're good. Okay, let's turn around. Oy, this is very, very narrow. Very narrow. There we go. Now we're good. But the player terrain tool works beyond that limit. Even though the vehicles are completely weightless, the soil from the paver actually turns the same color as the planet, as you can tell by some of that blue soil from when I had a paver up here. Oh, by the way, that's a rover that I lost. And if you look over back there, there's another rover that I lost. If you don't have a rocket rover, you will be very unhappy in this area. And I'm gonna go, this is the third limit right here, so I'm gonna bounce really hardcore off this platform, goodness. Alright, we're gonna hop out right here. It was really nice and gentle. Alright, I'm holding right click on my rover seat just because the rover does tend to float away. But if we rock over here, if you'll notice, launch pads do still work up here. But if you look at this bit of terrain right here, there's no ceiling to this bit of terrain. This is the soil ceiling of the game. Beyond this, there can be no soil placed or dug or used. This is the end of Glacio, and it's actually a fair ways away from actual Glacio, as you can tell if we, oh, nuts. I wasn't... Okay, I was afraid I was stuck. Alright, so that rover's parked there for a little bit, it'll be good. If you run into the ceiling with the player character, you will get stuck like I just did. But I was planning to jump off. And actually with the hoverboard I can actually really I'm actually going going faster than the ramp is. The ramp is a little less steep than my trajectory, which is really weird. Because you can basically fly with this thing. So I'm gonna probably make it all the way back to base with this. And I still have my right click held down, so I can teleport back to the rover up there at any point if I want to. And yeah, this is my highway system coming up. And I'm gonna press F right now. And it's gonna freeze for a second, and then it's gonna teleport me back up into my rover. And my rover is currently kind of stuck because it's, there's two types of physics in this game for vehicles. The first type of physics is for driving. The second type of physics is for air. And you can't use the driving physics in the air, as is evidenced by me not being able to move. But the minute I use these rockets, then suddenly it realizes, oh, we're in the air. And so then I'm able to use the rover like normal. However, if you look off right in this direction, right about here where my cursor is, what does that look like to you? Does that look like anything? You can't really zoom in on it or anything. Glacio does not have a moon, so no, that's not a moon. That's no moon. Just kidding. But yeah, Glacio does not have a moon, and we're just kind of floating here in the middle of nowhere. And if you'll notice, the auto arm is keeping the engines neatly topped up, which is very nice and handy. If you don't turn on the auto arm, you will get stuck, because then you'll be stuck with just the fuel on the engines. Is that the unidentified satellite? It in fact is. However, if you'll notice, the sun is over there. So this is where we start to get into where are things actually in the game. And the where are things actually in the game and where are things graphically in the game are two entirely separate things, because as we all know, the unidentified satellite is right above the sun. So why is the sun right there and the satellite right over here? Right here. So if we go to that, you'll actually find out this is where the actual sun actually is. But the good thing is I brought a rocket rover, so we don't have to just theorize about that, we can just go straight for it. And rocket rovers tend to want to pitch and yaw in very weird directions. I recommend having your control scheme set on in-air pitch and yaw. And if you go into options, actually, you can see there's something about it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh yeah, vehicle air controls, pitch plus yaw, so you want to use that. As you can tell by the camera lags behind anything that's moving quickly, so it's lagging behind us, so we're moving fairly quickly. And as you can actually see, we get closer to this thing. We'll eventually jerk, and then Glacial will be unloaded. Oh, just like that. And now we are actually out in the solar system. Except look right here. You see this star band? We're always taught that's at the equators of stuff. And oh, by the way, here's the sun, mysteriously. We're always taught that's at the equators of stuff, but here it's actually at a right angle. The reason for that is the actual real solar system is not right here. You go to these planets, you will be filled with regret and disappointed. I know because I've gone to those planets. This band shows you where the planets actually are. So the actual system is still rotated at a 90-degree angle from the graphical system. And nothing but empty shells of hope. I think they're nothing but empty shells of disappointment. I would not go so far as to say they're empty shells of hope. And we're gonna actually overshoot a little bit, so I come in here. We're falling. And yes, in case you haven't noticed, there is gravity here. And it makes things really difficult. And now I can't see my rover. Okay, let's rocket back up. Stay stable. Rocket back up. There's the triangle. And we're gonna go like that. You have to get above it and fall down to it. Pretty much, yeah. We're going to land on the triangle, and you might be surprised, but it actually does work really well. Getting off the triangle is a whole nother story. It's very difficult. But the triangle has a gravity field around it, and so it's like there's a column of gravity between this triangle and the sun. So you will fall into the sun if you miss the triangle, but beyond that, there's not a lot. And actually, having played Kerbal Space Program is really super helpful in here, because then you have a basic understanding of how vectors and momentum works, and what is retrograde and prograde and antograde and everything like that. So I'm aiming mostly directly at it. Felt the KSP vibes out here. Exactly, yeah. This is also the most inefficient way of travel you will ever find. I don't think there's any bit of travel that's more inefficient than this. I'm just keeping myself nice and centered. Kind of. Alright, and then I'm gonna burn upwards. Just as we as we touch down. And look at that! We are on the triangle now. And no, we cannot just drive straight off, because there is an invisible barrier here. Now if I get out, suddenly all the rings come to life, and the thing loads in. But, yeah, now we're just here. Getting out of the ring on the rocket rover is very, very difficult. I have only done it like once or twice, and I really don't feel like attempting it right now. It's very difficult. So I'm just gonna go home. I'm so happy that this thing works on basically everywhere. It works even outside the planets. Because otherwise you run very, very, very slowly. So yeah, that's the triangle. I'm gonna teleport back. We will be able to come back with a shuttle and a packager and bring the rocket rover back. It's not hard. Done it a ton of times. But that is how you get to the triangle at a huge expense. I might add, of hydrazine. So don't do this until you have lots of hydrazine to spare. But yeah, KSP helps really a ton with these rocket rovers. Anyway, here we are back at the base. I like that little bit of terrain. That is not built by me. That's a glitch, because my save is so old. My save is 3 days older, or 3 days younger than 1.0. So naturally, it has a couple of terrain issues with it. And in case you'll see, this triangle right here, which is only here for non-active teleportation gates, is also there. So if you'll notice, there's actually a second teleportation gate right here, down below this normal teleportation gate. So there's actually 2 teleportation gates here. One is active, one is not. And that is just because of, again, how old the save is. Anyway, I'm gonna go to Novus and try activating the second one. I've done that on a couple. It only sends you to the top one, and I've actually done a couple where I've accidentally activated the lower one. Well, here, since we have infinite oxygen, how's our fuel looking? Not terrible. I'm gonna use up some of that extra fuel though, because we have just a little bit extra fuel, so I can have a higher capacity as a whole. Come on, you're almost done. There you go. Now they're switched out. Now I'm gonna go grab 2 extra fuel from my fuel depot, and we'll have ourselves a nice time. Ow. Let's see, I think 3 is a good one. I don't remember for sure. This just looks kind of like Game of Thrones type throne. It's really cool in my opinion. Is this one? Yeah, it's one that's more extreme. I don't know if this is necessarily the same. No, I haven't activated this lower one. But when I did teleport with these lower ones, I would always arrive on the higher ones, and there was a couple gates where I activated the lower one first, and the lower one actually didn't count as anything. So when I went and looked at the network on this odd stone right here, then it showed as a dim node, even though I had just teleported from that node. So it's really, really strange. And you can technically teleport two people at once, but it's really kind of inconsequential since you can teleport people really rapidly anyway. And also, I always do that weird somersault out. I don't know why. It's just one of the quirks of my save. Just being how old it is. Yeah, that's a quick rundown of my base, and also the rocket rover, which I'm gonna need to go grab in a bit, but we'll be okay. All of these beacons, by the way. I was gonna show you the. If you look right here, you'll see all of these. You'll see these landing sites, which usually they're on the surface, but these are on top. These are the two landing pads that you saw as we went along. And I'm gonna actually fast forward. And if you look right here, here's the ramp right here where we were just a second ago, and here's that beacon. And you can see loading in. There's that gate that I have. This is the sphere. That's the area for this landing pad right here. And we pass right through the gate and right through the other side. It's super strange, super funky, but oh yeah, and also that entire time we were inside the sphere of this landing thing. So yes, it will pass through that one same spot every single time. Somewhere on my to-do list, I'm probably going to eventually head over to Silva and try to find my way to the actual current space station. But that might require some multiplayer, so we'll work on the Novus project while we've got time. Anyway, so we'll land here because we got some titanium to bring, because the Novus project is a huge titanium suck. Just a big ol' sucking sound when it comes to titanium. So here we are. Alright, I'm gonna place the shuttle right there for now. Then I'm gonna take this, place it on here, and this is exactly enough steel to create enough silos for the entire round. At least it should. It's printing them 6 at a time, just to print them faster. Then these are exactly enough for 2 bombs, exactly enough titanium for 2 bombs. So it makes it helpful. So yeah, now let's just wait while things print. And let's get these guys started. So yeah, I have to assemble every single bomb. And yeah, this is the non-exciting part. Appreciate the tour on Glacio. Hey, that's not a problem, my dude. Happy to show you around a little bit. Glacio, I will always maintain, is the best planet in the game, because Glacio has high research, a lot of resources. Like, it's got a lot of ammonium, a lot of resin, a lot of everything, and it's also got fairly low difficulty. So with all those resources combined with all of that research combined with the lower difficulty, it is pretty much unmatched in my book. Also, I thought it was kind of awkward in my stream or in your stream, when that guy was like, "Oh, I'm going home to Novus." And I'm like, "Oh, if only you knew what I was doing to Novus." But that's okay, that one kid doesn't have to know. I mean, I maintain. I think my Novus looks cooler than anybody else's. Just not just to brag, you know. The origin story of Thanos. I mean, I was preferring like the origin story of the Death Star, but I guess we'll go with Thanos. Hey, why did you make me grab that? Put that back. Um. Come on. Just go back. And all of your titanium needs to go back too. There we go. I accidentally grabbed that small printer, and I didn't mean to. Just wanted to grab a silo. Kid will snap half of afternoon or something. I mean, I might do like a hole down to the core of each planet, but man, half of each planet. Oh, that would be that's a monstrous amount of work. It would be fine if like my bombs were reusable. Like then I'll be okay. That's just a little bit of a longer project. But now that the bombs cost resources every single time, and they cost like, takes me like an hour to put everything together, and it's just difficult. I did think it was nice seeing you get all your nanocarbon today. Got any plans for later on? What are you planning to do after you finish the game? Finally nanocarbon, yeah. Oh, by the way, this is my aluminum alloy for solid field boosters when I need them. This is titanium alloy for my hydrazine boosters when I run out, inevitably. And this is my packager printer because I need to go down and print that packager. And I need to go down and print some more packagers and package up some of that tier 2 stuff that's sitting around. Giving me some lag. Next thing will be to work on some light auto refining, light compared to your operations. Oh, everything's light compared to my operations. It's just kind of how things run. Because my operations are stupidly ridiculous. They're only really appropriate on the scale of actually destroying a planet. Because who would have thunked? It's almost like I'm doing that or something. Oh, did you seriously not? You got... That thing got stopped printing. That's annoying. Well, at least the rest of the printers printed everything that they needed to. Should still be the same number. Just annoying that it was like, oh, I'm just gonna stop printing because you accidentally grabbed me. Layout auto refining, possible new planet, new base, underground basement level for infrastructure. Oh, what are you planning to put in the underground basement level? Hostages? I mean, infrastructure? Although I do hear that the space snail will be pretty cute, so I'm probably going to take a couple of space snails hostage. I mean, as pets, not hostage. Mostly power, maybe auto-arm your way around to move things around the underground. You gotta be careful with auto-arms, man. Auto-arms are great, and I use tons of them, but each auto-arm is one single unit of power. It's very, very easy to run yourself up into hundreds of units per second of power running auto-arms. Now, that is definitely something that you can prepare for, and that's definitely something that you can overcome, like I've overcome, but that's going to take a lot of RTGs and a lot of power to get around that. And that's actually bomb number 1 done. It's going to be a heck yeah for me. Maybe look at using the winch. Oh! Actually, that reminds me, I was going to have a look at that winch myself. See, I never use the winch, really. I'm not on Team Winch or anything. But it does look fun, and I need to stop you guys. It does look like it would be fun So I think actually that's a really good point. I'm gonna go take my shuttle back. I'm gonna try that out one real fast because I had a plan that I was trying to communicate to you, but I wasn't able to get it across. No, why would you do that to me? Okay, there you go. All right, now off we go back home. How's my fuel looking? Okay, we'll run out of one canister by the time we get back to Glacio. Glacio. It's a good point. I was going to mess with that, and I forgot to do any of that. Okay, now we're down to 67, so we have exactly one canister missing. That's my titanium farm down there, by the way. That's the farm that has so far generated all the titanium that I've used, which is quite a ton of titanium. But also, watch what happens when I land down here. Watch my fuel indicator. It's a 67%, and now it's back up to 100%. That's because buried way down underneath this launch pad, I have a solitary auto arm that is buried so deep that it can only touch the engine of this shuttle, and me if I walk underneath the engine. So that's a nice handy refueling station. It just yoinks from over here and then takes it over to my shuttle. I was gonna look at the winch. Didn't I have a winch printed somewhere? I feel like I had a winch printed somewhere. It took me honestly a while to figure that out, but let's be real. The minute I had it figured out, it's so amazing to not have to worry about my fuel on a large scale. I'm gonna yoink a dynamite because I don't want to mess up these right now. Wait, no, I don't need to yoink a dynamite. I have a little bit. No, on the slot. I had a little bit over here. I try to be fairly particular about what I use. So there's one. What else do I need to make a winch? Where even is the darn winch? Not there, not there. Oh, here it is. Rubber. Oh. That's kind of easy. Wait, hold on, what's rubber? Okay, just let me examine you over here. Alright. Hydrogen and rubber. Oh, it's organic and resin. Alright, well, I just so happen to have a little bit of organic. Since I only need the one rubber, we're just gonna run things from here. And I do have an extra resin sitting around here somewhere. Don't have a rubber silo? I do, but it's not cracked open yet. So I really don't want to crack it open and just have one singular bit of rubber missing. So I'd rather just take from my excess of resources and make one rubber than take from my silo. I try to reserve my silos for generally larger scale usages. Like I said, I'm pretty particular. Alright, so... Wait. Okay, so it is exochip and rubber. Alright. Now I just need to go find a small printer. I have one on my backpack, but I'm not going to use that one because that's my graphite printer. I have lots of small printers sitting around here everywhere. Sure, we'll figure out something. Here we go, we'll yoink one of these. I haven't used my auto arm printing, I haven't used my RTG printers in a while, so we're just gonna look over for the winch. There we go. Alright, so then I need to figure out the, I don't think this is... no. Then I need to figure out the crane. Wait, crane. Steel, silicone, and titanium. Okay. I should have a cracked thing of silicone. See, here's my silo of rubber. I should have a cracked thing of steel. That's a cracked thing of aluminum alloy. That's a non-cracked thing of steel. Your tungsten carbide. Do I not have a... Oi, I don't have a single steel that's just sitting around cracked open. Hashtag first world problems, first off. Secondly, it might be over here. That's nanocarbon alloy. That's lithium, silicone, which I do need actually. Resin. Hold on. Silicone. And instead of glass, I'm gonna need steel. I bet I took it over to the Novus project. I bet that's where it went. Alright, let's go make one steel. So that's gonna take an argon, which I have over here. That's helium. This is argon. Here we go. There's a good boy. There's a good argon. Alright, then we're going to need a single iron and a single carbon, which I actually have from my excesses from my auto smelters. So we've got an extra carbon, and we've got an extra bit of iron around here somewhere. Extra bit of iron. Nice. It's kind of ridiculous just scraping together all the resources just for this. Steel. Why? I did not mean to pick that up. And there's the steel. Guess you got pretty much everything within hoverboard's reach. I know, right? So nice to have farmed up all these resources. I really should make a secondary thing of steel so I can just have one ready to go. Large platform type B is actually going to be useful. I think I'll use that. Great. Alright, and that is good for those. By the way, these are my backups of large resource canisters, because I use them on a regular basis to farm up stuff. I generally try to keep everything pretty interchangeable, but when I start stocking up lots of, say for example, titanium, then I end up running into issues, and so I end up having to pull from this stack. So this silo was full and is now empty of large resource canisters. So I'll refill that entire storage when it becomes empty. But yeah, all of this is titanium right here. And all of this 1600 titanium is actually back up for the Novus project. Because it will eventually... This is my base titanium, so that's slightly different. But this Novus project backup will sustain us for a few rounds should my resources suddenly go dry, which they might because Astroneer is glitchy. Alright, I'm gonna unpack this. And pop that on there. Take the winch, pop that on there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get rid of all my valuables, like I recommended you do, because I do not want to lose everything. So I'm going to pop this over here. I'm going to head into my shuttle to save. And then I'm going to... Hey, don't pass me. I'm gonna put all my hydrazine back in the fuel depot. That's all my hydrazine. You survived the witchcraft with that. Well, that wasn't... Hey! The MAT, that was kind of your own fault. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Because you were like, oh, that looks bad. Let me just stand here and look at it. As it slowly turns red and vibrates faster and faster and faster. It's just like, no, in slow motion. It's a very sad life, honestly, without my, actually, I have a whole bunch of oxygenators sitting right here. I'm gonna take one with me. It is really, really sad how it was just sad watching all the signs go ignored. Hey, no, on there, unpack. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the winch here, then I'm going to attach it right here. And now the second I enter this crane, things are gonna go very crazy. I don't think locking it's not gonna do anything, but with the crane. Oh, the reason was because it's anchored to the terrain. Give me 1 second. Let's leave it not anchored to the terrain. Ow, no. Come back here. Oh, darn it. I'm walking away from it to send it towards physics distance. It's bouncing off in the distance. This is slightly awkward. I have spare hoverboards. It's about time to. It's reaching 88 miles an hour. What can I say? I'm gonna steal my hoverboard. I need to go after that thing. Found it. Okay, I'd like to get in. There we go. I'm in. Oh, air. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's the ground. I'm in control, kind of. The farther away I put this, the more extreme things get. Oh no. Oh no. Bye, Glacio. I'm sorry. We're just gonna head off into the cosmos. This is why I left all my valuables behind. The hoverboard's not super valuable because the hoverboard is remakeable. Let's go, my people need me. I know, right? Oh, something happened. So this is why I recommended doing it with the crane, because you can actually control how far away the crane is, and that's a recipe for more shenanigans. This is also a very much known bug. I can kind of sort of steer it, maybe. But yeah, the farther it goes, you see, the more it wigs out. And I'm just like hopping around the planet with not a care in the world. Alright, where am I going? Where am I going? To space, apparently. Goodbye, Glacio. This is awkward. If I bring my mouse down, does that affect anything? Kind of. Maybe this was the inspiration for Space Jam. I don't know what the inspiration for Space Jam was. Alright, I'm going to bring it close to the platform. That should bring the arm in closer. Bringing the arm in closer should slow us down. At this point, we're going to end up in the interplanetary space. And I'd like for that not to happen. I'd like to fall back down to Glacio if I could. Oh, it is spinning so wildly. To use a KSP term, the Kraken has taken over. And we're just gonna casually hang out up here. So I'm trying to keep it more or less on the platform to try to minimize all kinds of horrible shenanigans like this. Like a one-armed evil Johnny 5. It's spinning so fast it almost has multiple arms. Like, see right here, it has 2 arms. Oh, we hit the speed wall. This is just interesting. Oh, we're going down now. We're going up now. No, I want to go down. Down. Down, down. Down like a good boy. Come on. This has like 3 arms at once now. I have duplicated the crane. And there's no way to stop it. There's literally no way to stop it. This reminds me pretty heavily of the good old Astroneer glitches with the vehicles. With the rovers. Back in the day when the rovers were super glitchy. In this save, actually, I had a rover. Right after 1.0 released, I had a rover. Are you gonna abandon it once you can land? I'm probably gonna abandon it even before I can land, and I'll just fall back and die. Because, again, I have nothing valuable on me. I'd like to die at my base, though, so I can recover my hoverboard if I can. I mean, it's nothing major, but it'd be nice. We'll make that the goal. We'll try to land and die at the base. But the rover that I had... Oh, we ran into the speed wall. Now we're plummeting down towards the ground at maximum speed. And we're kind of... Oh, almost. Ah! That was almost peaceful. We're gone, again. I don't have my base in sight, or I would jump right now. Oh, I can kind of control it. Sort of, maybe control it? Whoa, 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 whoa. I did not consent to going this way. You know what, this works. I did not consent to going this way. No, 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 no. Ah! And little bit of a rest, and then spazzing out again. We're gone again. That's not. Oh, no, no, no! My people need me. My people need me. My people need me. Apparently. We're off on an interplanetary voyage. This platform is literally gone. I'm just trying to get over to where my base is so I can jump out and land and die at my base. Or near my base. And we're frozen. Hello? Astroneer? Did I crash the game? I might have crashed the game. Oh, please tell me I didn't crash the game, because I don't want to... Hello? Astroneer? Seems frozen. You don't say. You don't say it seems frozen. Well, my stream's not frozen, just my game is frozen. Astroneer. Hello? Saved as you got on the crane? I technically did. My last respawn location was the shuttle, though. And so that should be correct. It's not responding to anything. Okay, I think we're probably going to have to call that a crash. Let me go on intermission and see if I can save this. Task manager. Wait for it to figure its stuff out. Astroneer, not responding. You don't say. Oh, it's using 98% of my memory. That would be why. What on earth is causing it to use 7 gigabytes of active RAM? Holy cow. I think I had like a memory leak or something. Alright. I'm going to have to crane velocity. Hi, Spyro. We broke Astroneer. I'm gonna have to quit the program. Alright. My mic is staticky. I'm sorry. There's not a lot I can do about that. That's my cords. Alright. let's hit play Astroneer, see if anything happens. And my voice is quiet. My mic aux is performing like normal. It's at normal levels. It's up in the yellow and the red. Crane plus 1 equals new DeLorean. Yes, indeed. Maybe try turning the stream up, Spyro? Because my mic is functioning pretty normally. Alright, the game has loaded up. Let's see if my save will load. It at least starts loading. My save usually takes like 3 minutes to load, which is why I do it before stream. So, yeah, I'm stuck on our frozen screen for quite a while. Astroneer is back down to like 2 gigabytes of memory. I think we had a memory leak. I appreciate the help, Spyro. I'm afraid that I don't really have a solution because OBS is reporting everything normal, and I'm aware of the static. The static is really unfortunate, but kind of is what it is when you have a small desk like I do. Hope you don't load into the crane winch. If I do, I'm getting out. I shouldn't load into the crane winch. I should load into the shuttle. But you never know. You can make a stream for an extra hour. Well, I don't have like a set end of stream, so you have enough points? Congratulations, good for you. Now, if your Hope would spend that on Dixper crates and use those Dixper crates to kill me. But oh, it's loading. And it has loaded. And I am in my shuttle. Yay! Now here's the question. So we loaded in with all of our stuff minus our fuel. Where is the... Is that over here? Are you over here? Because you were over here before. I'm not sure what happened to the, Oh! It hasn't been unpackaged yet. Guys, it never happened. It never happened, guys. I didn't even lose anything. It never happened at all. That's a... I didn't just get rescued by a save, I just got her like a straight up revert. How's the hull doing? The hull is doing just great. We were working on it when a certain Thundy distracted me with the winch idea. I've already shown Spyro the base. He's already seen everything that it's got to offer. I actually haven't shown you this though. I will show you this. I haven't shown this to you. This is, you may have seen it in the background, but this is my paving rover. Capacity is 1,632 canisters, plus whatever these tiny soil canisters on the top add in, which I don't really know anything about that. But before you could print those medium canisters, before those were even added to the game, we were running off of these, which are the small canisters. Now this is 1,104 small canisters. And the reason why I haven't thrown them away or scrapped them is because I printed every single one of these off of my backpack, painstakingly, 4 at a time, and I spent hours doing that. And I'm not feeling like throwing them away. So those are old as time. Decide to stream Crash Drive 2, let you know I could join you. Alright, I will definitely keep you posted. I don't see it happening I don't see it happening for a bit, but once we get Nova's Project round, Detonation round number 31 done, we might be open to doing that. We'll see. See how it goes. But yeah, I probably would want to play Crash Drive 2, or like the open levels of Crash Drive 3. I'm not feeling tank battles in Crash Drive 3. That's just depressing. Yeah, Spyro, by the way, this is the hull. Hull's doing nicely. And and if you'll notice, that base is right up where the shuttle goes. It's at the same relative level as the just mean in general, not now. Ah, okay. Well, I will definitely keep you posted. I typically try to let you know when I run Astroneer, because, or not when I run Astroneer, when I run Crash Drive 2, because you're pretty darn good at Crash Drive 2. My resource vacuum did I not ever? I must have not finished using it. Maybe I didn't. Hold on. Let me hold right click on my shuttle so I can come back magically. I have to head off to bed. I'll leave the lurking on for the points. Much appreciated, man. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate all the support. And by the way, hold on 1 second. Let me land in the court. First off, how are my resources? I almost died there. I appreciate I appreciate you not killing me for once. Yeah, I still got a little bit of cleanup to do, but it's mostly tier 2 items. It's half gone. I wish it was half gone. It's not quite half gone, but it's quite a big hole still. By the way, if you guys want to, if you guys are looking for something else, you guys should totally check out Thunder, because he's a pretty good streamer. He's a fun guy. We've been having lots of fun in his streams, and he just got his first nanocarbon alloy, which is adorable. So you guys should go support him, show him a follow. He's trying to reach affiliate. Let's help him get there. So yeah, thanks a bunch for dropping by, Thundy. Appreciate it. It's always good to have you on. And I'm gonna get to work on actually doing stuff. It's a bear to make all these bombs all the time. But yeah, I mean, a couple things have been on my mind, so I guess we'll talk about those, and just in general try to have a good time. But yeah, hopefully I'll catch you next time. I'll see you whenever you stream next. Not the cable. How did you look through all of these boxes that I could grab and then grab the cable plug? They tell me that, huh? Oh, stop it. Anyway, I was having a debate with somebody today about universal basic income. And, I don't really know. I got accused of being libertarian, which I don't really know what that means, per se. But, the reason why is because I said universal basic income just looks to me like a fast track to inflation. So the idea is that of universal basic income is essentially socialist, and it is that everyone, no matter who you are, if you're working, how old/young you are, provided you're in the age of majority, you will get a baseline income of X amount of dollars. And this just seems like a fantastically bad idea to me, because based on, as far as I can tell, high school economics, as far as I can tell, UBI seems to be a fantastically bad idea. I mean, it seems really nice at first, because, man, wouldn't it be nice to just get enough money to pay your grocery bills or pay your rent without having to do anything? COVID has shown us that it's really nice to get handout packages, but not only ignoring the entire effect that it might have on the economy, of making people not want to work, because the stated goal is to help people who are unable to find work. Unbiased definition of what universal basic income is. There is no such thing as an unbiased definition. However, I will Google it for you, and I'll show you I'll read out what Google has to say about it. Let's look up universal basic income. Okay, according to Wikipedia, I am going to change OBS to capture. Hold on, I need to fix something real fast. Universal basic income. Let's see. Alright, so, universal basic income. Let me get my window capture running. Detentions are unbiased. They're just, what are detentions? I don't know what detentions are. Studio mode. Browser. Window capture. I'd like to capture Wikipedia, please. Wikipedia. There we go. Transition. Alright, so this is, according to Wikipedia, universal basic income is also called unconditional based income, citizens based income, basic income guarantee, basic living stipend, a whole bunch of stuff. Socio-political financial transfer concept in which all citizens of a given population, the USA in this particular case, regularly received a legally stipulated and equal financial grant paid by the government without a means test. In other words, like, what are your finances? Basic income can be implemented nationally, regionally, or locally. If it's sufficient to meet a person's basic needs, either at or above the poverty line, it is sometimes called a full basic income. If it's less than that amount, it may be called a partial basic income, and I've highlighted the part that I'm reading. So, with all of that, does that kind of... Oh, definitions. It doesn't... There's actually... I've learned that there is no such thing as unbiased definitions in... when I took... Back when I was in debate, there's no such thing as unbiased definitions. And that's the same thing as saying there's no such thing as unbiased statistics. The statistics themselves may be unbiased, but how you present them is extremely important, and it's very easy to present definitions in such a way that emphasizes one section of thing and emphasizes and de-emphasizes another section of things. Do you even need to work for the pay? That's the point. You don't. The point is that every citizen of a given area, in this case, the U.S. nationally, would receive a basic stipend for either cover part of or most of their poverty line basic needs. And this honestly seems like a massively bad idea for me. And I'll explain a little bit why. But first I want to talk about definitions real fast. Definitions are very, very easy to skew a definition one way or the other in order to fit your narrative. So I would have to say that it's very possible for definitions to be biased. For example, controversial example, feminism defines itself as a movement for equality. However, the policies they push for do not support that. So if they actually pushed for policies that supported equality, then they would be genuinely for equality. Don't have to explain why it's bad to see a major problem with it. What's the problem that you see? Thank you, Dixper Bro. I appreciate it, but we already know all that. And that's bomb number 2 done. But yeah, definitions are like statistics. You can twist them however you want. For instance, there's a very nice common newspaper statistic that a lot of newspapers like to highlight, and that is nearly 1/3 of the homeless population is women. And that seems fine for the moment. That seems like seems in terms of people using the definition, not the definition itself, information itself is 100% unbiased. There is no information without people using it, though, so there's no way to have something like that be unbiased. So a definition is inherently biased because there are only people who are using it. There are no people who are. There's no definition that's not being used by people. Then it kind of ceases to be a definition, arguably. Because definitions are only useful in to the point where they are providing meaning to help clarify things for people. I mean, we invented the idea of definitions. So that's my argument, at least. But that statistic that I mentioned, where nearly a third of homeless people are women, it's really kind of an obvious example, because it's very, very, very obvious. But you see how it mentions one thing and it fails to mention another thing, namely that 2/3 of the homeless population are male, which I've seen this in real newspaper articles, by the way. And it provides emphasis to one thing and de-emphasizes another thing. That's where it's most blatant, but it's very, very, very hard to get a completely 100% unbiased definition. We do have some relatively unbiased definitions, but they are hard to come by. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. But as far as UBI goes, I see that as a fast track to inflation. And I was accused of being libertarian for being it, which, honestly, I don't even know what libertarian means, but I try not to be the one thinking it in terms of how we use them. Fact is fact. If the person uses knowledge in an unfactual way, then it's no longer fact. That only applies to physical things like gravity. But for metaphysical things which are non-tangible, like all of these, like the idea of currency and the idea of everything, there is no way to define it in which the there's no way to define it in a way that's unbiased. Fact is not fact. There is no real, there isn't really any such thing as fact at the moment, because just that's how our society works. It's very difficult. You can overcome one person's individual bias and present an unbiased opinion relative to them that they did not contribute bias to, but every single definition has some form of bias. You can try to mitigate it, but there is no escaping it. Example? Well, like I mentioned with the example of statistics, how fact not being fact is a redundancy. It's a play on words to kind of help you understand. Fact is a very relative term, unfortunately. It really makes for black and white people like me, it makes it difficult because I feel like it shouldn't be a relative term. Like, you know, like the scene from The Incredibles where he says math is math. I'm thinking fact is fact, but in reality, it's not. Math has unbiased facts. Math works on concepts of where no matter what your viewpoint is, 2 + 2 always will equal 4. That is very different from something that does not follow strict rules, that's societal, like the definitions that we're like the type of definitions we're talking about. I'm not saying that all definitions per se are impossible to unbiased, but all the definitions in this particular area that we're discussing, it's not possible to get an unbiased definition completely. It's just all about emphasizing one thing and de-emphasizing another. And it kind of hurts my brain, but it is what it is. But I hope that kind of helps you to understand, maybe? Kind of helps maybe to me to not seem a little less crazy? I mean, I know I'm already crazy. Like, here, I'm destroying a planet. But aside from that, people are flawed and can't truly use fact, but we can see and know it. Uh, people are flawed and can't truly use fact, but we can see and know it. But we can see. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that, but there is. I think he might be talking about like the argument to eliminate biases by using multiple contradicting biases to cancel each other out, which there is an argument to be made for that. You can possibly do that. It's difficult because when you're picking what biases to use, then you end up putting your own biases in as far as what biases you pick in order to try to cancel each other out, what biases you think will cancel each other out, when somebody else might think that, oh, they don't actually cancel each other out, they're actually trying to make apples and oranges cancel each other out. But because people are inherently flawed, that kind of has to, by logical extension, extend to everything that we touch. And that's just kind of how it is. We live in an imperfect world. If we lived in a perfect world, we wouldn't have this problem. If you drop a rubber band on the ground, it will bounce. No matter who drops it, no matter what they say, the fact is that it will bounce. Exactly. And I'm not disagreeing over that. I'm saying that's a very, very different type of fact than what we're talking about, which is metaphysical. There's no way to... It's non-tangent. It's non-tangible. In other words, tangible means touch it. You can't touch it. There's no way to touch it. Because there's no way to touch it, it is therefore a lot more fluid than something that can be repeated and observed. It's not subject to the scientific method, shall we say. The scientific method can easily confirm that a rubber band ball will bounce every single time you drop it. But the scientific method does not apply to certain other things that are more social. Specifically in the case of universal basic income. It's just because of how complex things are. I hope that makes sense. But I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I'm saying that what you're talking about is a different thing from what we're talking about here with the whole universal basic income thing. Kind of liking these synth tunes, though. These are some nice, chill synth tunes. Hey, I didn't tell you to be right there. I told you to be right there. Anyway, I have gotten drastically off topic. I've gotten ridiculously off topic. Not that there exactly was a topic specifically to begin with, but I was trying to talk about UBI, and why I personally think it's a bad idea, and maybe just share my perspective, hear other people's perspectives on it, and if anybody thinks that UBI is a good idea, I'd like to hear why in chat, because would be interested to hear refutations of my thoughts. And if you do have refutations, if you think I'm illogical, not really, but if you don't see it, you can't make you bring a horse to water over this thing. The reason we'll have to agree to disagree on the whole definitions thing. It's not something that I'm super good at explaining, but yeah, it's just a matter of... It's like how statistics are, but yeah. It's not an accident. That's okay, I've done that way too many times. But as far as definitions and stuff go, we'll probably just have to agree to disagree on that, because I'm not really able to explain it right now. I'm stumbling over my words, I don't know what I'm talking about. 1 sec. 1,000. Alright, that's been 1 second, your time's up. Just kidding. I'm kidding. drop it, not hit F. Alright. Hey. There we go. I can tell Spyro is most likely on mobile because mobile typing is way more frustrating than other forms of typing, so it usually takes longer. Anyway, I kind of want to hear Spyro. I kind of want to hear your position before I share mine. I mean, even though we agree, I'd like to hear your perspectives on why you think universal basic income is a bad idea. The reason universal income is a terrible idea is because no one will work anymore. If no one will work, then nothing gets done, and we'll lose literally everything. I think that is true, to an extent. There are some people that really just want to work, and I think that will still hold true with universal basic income. I think there will still be some people who want to work. However, I think we would also be completely correct in pointing out that we would end up losing something like 90% of our workforces. Which would be ridiculous and also terrible. There are so many other... Yeah. So, my main problem with it is not the whole work factor. That is definitely a thing. But it's not near... It's more mitigatable than it is... than this problem is. And the problem that I have with it is inflation. I mentioned that it was a fast track to inflation, and I got called being a libertarian for it. I don't even know what being a libertarian was, but they definitely meant it as an insult. I don't even know what libertarian is, but I mean, I guess if libertarian means not being stupidly crazy about universal basic income, then I guess that means that's what I am. But at the very least, 80% of them stop working. Yeah, there will be a some that won't, but there will be a lot that will. We'll have an influx of streamers most likely, but the interesting thing about inflation is that it's based off of the law of supply and demand. This is a fundamental law that everybody gets taught in high school, or at least so I thought until I heard about universal basic income. Now, the problem with it is that it's going to go over... It's going to... Supply and demand is based off of the rule of scarcity. The rule of scarcity is even more basic than the law of supply and demand. And basically is the more scarce something is, the more inherent value it will be given. That's the same reason why in the dating market, virgins are sometimes considered higher value later in life because they are more scarce, so to speak. And it's the same reason why gold is considered higher value, even though it is metal that is not really useful for a whole lot of things until we invented electronics, and then it became extremely useful. But it was, well, the gold standard until a while ago, and the reason for it was extremely hard to get out, and it was extremely rare. So the way that rarity works is it drives up the value of something. When something is not rare, then it drives its value down, which is the whole reason why when something is rare and harder to get and harder to make, it gets higher value, which is the entire reason why a computer costs more than a bottle of soda. And this is not to say that the system is perfect that we have now, but it does work. And so the way this would work is that if they gave everybody enough to cover their basic health needs, not only would we have a bunch of lazy bums, we would also have people who were more encouraged to spend. The idea behind UBI is that the more people who spend, the more money gets pushed back into the economy, so the more, essentially, blood we get flowing. I would submit that that's just an overly simplistic view of how economics works, because more blood doesn't necessarily mean better. And in fact, it can lead to a downward spiral of depression. like Great Depression type stuff. Can't ignore the things have value based on how they can be used on a basic level. Yeah, I'm just speaking on a basic level. I'm not getting into that. Even that's a little bit more advanced than I'm going. I'm trying to go off of just the really basics, just to kind of explain and I guess think out as well how this thing fails on a basic day-to-day level. So I'm just talking in binary terms, basically in just very, very simple terms to try to make it easier for myself to quantify my thoughts and for everyone else who's listening to understand. I would say that universal basic income takes away a lot of that rarity. And so you'd have more people who are encouraged to spend more. But businesses, how do businesses price their thing? How do businesses price their products? Let's say that I am a grocer selling gallons of milk. Now, if there's a whole bunch of gallons of milk out there to be bought, then a lot of people are going to buy them, and if I price my prices high, then they're just going to go to somebody who has a more efficient way of doing it and will sell me stuff for lower. In fact, that's exactly how China flooded the steel market to drive U.S. businesses out of the steel market entirely. They flooded it with very cheap, very low-quality steel that worked for the moment, that just barely got the job done, and it drove the American businesses that produced more quality steel out of business. It's a very, very basic economics principle. Now, when somebody has a whole bunch of money, then they can buy whatever they need to. But where they choose to spend this money is dependent on price and everything. Now, if I had, as this business owner selling milk, that is kind of a sad life, just selling milk, let me just say. But let's say if I was simply selling milk, then the higher my price goes, the less people are going to buy, just on a basic level. This is not talking about anything beyond, like, the very basics. So, if I want more people to buy my milk, then I lower my prices, if, like, not enough people are buying my milk. So when their industrial revolution was happening in China, ours happened several years before then. Yeah, well, that was also partially intentional on the on the Chinese Communist Party's part, but that's a whole other issue. I did a bunch of research on that, and it was terrifying. But that's a whole other issue. The basic idea is that when I'm a milk guy, if I'm selling milk and nobody wants to buy it, I need to lower my prices. However, if I'm selling my milk and everybody and their brother wants to buy it, suddenly I don't have enough milk to sell, so I have to raise my prices in order to actually keep some level of equilibrium. So that level of equilibrium just kind of has to be with a monetary-based system. Now, if we got rid of money altogether, that might be an entirely different thing, but I honestly have no substitute for money that would work nearly as well. And I'm just speaking of money as a general currency concept, not as anything specific to the US dollar or any specific type of currency. But basically, the more people that want to buy my milk, then the more I need to raise my prices, so that I don't run out of milk, essentially. So what UBI does is it creates a billion people who want to buy milk all of a sudden, who before weren't interested in buying milk because it was out of their price range. Suddenly I have to raise my prices or I'm going to run out. So if I have my prices super high for my milk, then suddenly everybody's going to do this on a national scale, because if one business does this, it's okay. But if every single person is looking to buy more of every single thing, like will happen with UBI, we might have more economic upturn for a while, but it will very quickly happen that businesses have to raise their prices. And when you raise the price, you reduce the power of the individual dollar to buy anything, or the individual unit of currency, whatever currency you say we can pick. So the individual unit of currency is devalued when prices rise, because you can do less with that same amount of money as you could before. So that inherently devalues money. So all of that ends up with the result that UBI sends us plunging into basically eternal inflation. And that's a much more fundamental and basic problem, I would say, than is people not wanting to work. And yeah, I don't know what kind of drugs the person was on, but it just feels like, how would you not understand this? And this was like a 41-year-old dude that told me this. Like, you would expect that he's at least past high school. And what do I know? I'm just a 22-year-old. I'm not, like, super experienced or anything, but, like, I paid attention in school. That it just feels like people want to solve the problem now. And they see, oh, there's poor people hurting, so we need to give the poor people money. Inflation is really simple, and it's actually really easy to fix if people are smart. Inflation, when it gets really big, it's super difficult to fix, actually. I studied it a little bit, and I don't know a lot, but it just seems to... But the way inflation goes is businesses are not helped, but businesses are kind of helpless in the face of it, but yet at the same time, they're the ones that are encouraging it. So it really seems like it just gains its own momentum. How many bombs is that? I had 3 before, so I made 4. Okay, that's half. Alright, now we need to bring these... You know what? Nope. Hey Ghost, how's it going? I'm rocking an NVIDIA graphics card. That's a very good question. Yes, I am. It's a GeForce... I want to say 2060? I think it's 2060, yeah. What's up with that? Also, been a while, Ghost. I don't know how to fix it. Simple as lowering the prices of everything. Well, lowering the prices of everything has to come from a government level. It's very difficult because, well, it makes it difficult for businesses because they have to, I would say that is a solution to it, but I don't know if it's as simple as you say. Lowering the prices in your country. NVIDIA broadcasts says it will take the fan noise out of the background of your mic. NVIDIA, though the static is coming from the cables in my mic, it's developed as the cables have, because the cables are near to things that are running electromagnetically. I tried to keep most of the electromagnetic stuff out of it, but if I bring like my power, if I bring my power cable, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but if I bring like my power box, like the converter that converts from the wall to power my laptop, if I bring it closer to the cord, then the static gets worse. It's electromagnetic static and the cables. It has nothing to do with my computer, which is really unfortunate. How the U.S. got out of the Great Depression originally is the U.S. got... We're talking economics, by the way, guys. Just... I was having a debate with somebody online today about the concept of universal basic income, and that was interesting. But the way inflation works is if you force the prices legally below a certain limit, that will kind of solve inflation in the long run, but in the short run it sabotages every business out there because then suddenly the businesses can't turn a profit, and if they can't turn a profit, they're not going to be able to stay in business. So you sabotage your economy at the price of trying to fix your economy. And everyone's money in that country is worth more. That's it. There's no more reason to complicate it. It's not that simple, though. I would have to say. It's really not. The reason I have to say that, if you'll hear me out, the reason I have to say that... Well, hear me out. The reason why I say that is because... again, we take away the buying power of the people who are making their businesses out of things, and you're also taking away their profit margins. So you're taking away their ability to earn. If it, let's say, if it talks, because their money is worth more, then that's not the case. It's not the case immediately. Inflation is not an instant solve tactic. Try to noise eliminator box. I don't know what a noise eliminator box is. If you want to shoot me a message on Discord with like a link or something, I'll be happy to check it out. Because this, as my cables have gotten older, this has been getting more annoying. I would appreciate any of that. I would appreciate the help. But yeah, I have not looked into that, so I guess that is what it is. But Spyro, I would say you're correct if it wasn't for the fact that inflation just doesn't just solve itself overnight. You know, inflation, it takes a few years to work it out of the system because it gives a lot of really detrimental effects to the economy. It's kind of like cancer for an economy because it takes a long while to recover from inflation. The U.S. actually recovered pretty darn fast, but that was because of World War II. And that was because that created a ton of jobs. And actually, currently, economists mentioned that the best solution to inflation is creating more jobs, and then lowering prices. But it's very difficult to get out of it because it's a loop, you know. And so, if businesses immediately had if their money was immediately worth more, then it would fix the problem. But you can't just mandate the price of everything all at once and expect things to go fine. That's not how economics works. You can't just mandate the price of the entire economy. That's not going to work. That type of thing is simple, but it's only simple if you are if you're running in an instant solution, you know. Does that make sense? Send you the link. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I will probably order one. It helps you with your noise and everything, because I have a nice setup. I really don't want to have to change my setup just because of all this noise. The static is really annoying, and it really takes away from the quality of the stream, which is something that I care about. So I really don't like it. Yeah, specifically, it seems like it's the cable between my microphone and my little mixer, because I have a little USB mixer that runs things, and that cable specifically seems to be the main bringer of static, so to speak. Tried purchasing sound cards, but couldn't find a good one. The cable is decent quality. It's just not all that new anymore, and yeah. Can't just have to be strict about it. Have $2 and Apple costs $2 no matter where you buy it from. And then all the apples get changed to only costing $1 and watching everything else drop in price. Then your money is now worth double what it was. Well, that's a problem because you run up against the difficulty of enforcing that. You can't enforce a law like that globally, and that's actually a problem that economists trying to solve inflation in the Great Depression. Let me put it to you this way, Spyro. If inflation was as easy as you say to solve, then why did the Great Depression last for so long? Because we have the world's top economists trying to fix the Great Depression, and it took them a long time to get it out of the U.S.'s system. It does not solve instantly. Specifically because You can make a law, but making businesses comply with that law is very difficult and takes a long time. Would love to see a sound card that had a few in and out SPDIF ports. What's SPDIF? I'm afraid I don't know what that is. Don't do it globally. I'm talking with, you have to do it within the entire unit that is being affected by inflation. You can't just do it in one subsection of the, that's being affected by inflation, because then that's going to create an imbalance, and then people are going to rush and buy more from that particular unit, because their money is worth more there, and then that particular unit is going to completely run out of resources to get money for, and then that unit is going to be poor compared to the rest of the country, because that one particular unit has to that one particular unit, their money is worth more in their local area, but it's not worth more on a national scale. They just don't want to. They do want to. The inflation isn't good for anybody. It's just a very complex problem to solve. I love that. I love that R2-D2 scream. So, inflation is caused, fundamentally, inflation is fundamentally caused by, whoopsies, it's fundamentally caused by production not being able to meet demand. The classical answer to inflation that we used back in the Great Depression is raising interest rates and stuff, because this discourages debt and slows down the economy, theoretically at least. And it brings the country into a recession, but it does also bring down inflation. It's a difficult issue because that kind of damages the economy at the same time. But you have to figure out what's behind the inflation before you can actually solve the inflation, because there's never one reason behind inflation. Let's be real, because it's not as simple as one particular product got out of control. Speaking of one particular product getting out of control, these guys are getting out of control right here. But yeah, you need entrepreneurs building new businesses. You need more jobs. You need to also have the trust of the populace back, and the trust of the populace is destroyed with inflation, and that trust is not something that comes back overnight. For instance, it's like a run on a bank, except on a national scale. A run on a bank means that everyone loses their confidence in the bank, and they no longer think that they actually have all their money available to them, so they go and withdraw all the money that they possibly can, and of course the bank doesn't actually have all that money in place, so it just closes and it folds, because it's suddenly in debt to 5 million people who want their money back, and it can't pay all that because it's got it loaned out to other people making the bank money. And it's like a national run on a national bank, because the national confidence is lost in the national economy, and so people are much less likely to want to invest back into that economy's growth, which simultaneously does not help it recover. Money can now be accurately converted to any other type of money. When you lower the prices, you raise the money's value, so that when you sell to other countries, they actually pay less than they would have. Then your money is worth more to everyone. We're not talking internationally. We're talking internally. We're talking nationally. I'm not entirely sure what the point of your example was. Oh, this is the last bomb that we're going to be making. and thus their money is worth more to you as well. It's not really. Japan has been raising the value of their money for a while, and they raised the value of their money relative to everybody else's, so that suddenly their money was like more valuable than the euro. I think it was Japan. I don't know if it was Japan or not. Maybe it was China. It's always China. What am I talking about? But this is very basic economics that are not. It's not really that. It's not that hard to. It's hard to explain, but it's not that hard to understand, I guess. I'm bad at explaining things, man. I'm really bad at explaining things. But yeah, the whole idea of inflation, it's a recurring cycle. It just sometimes it needs to run its course, but the way to solve it is never simple and it's never fast. Why am I looking at it so completely? I'm looking at it on a national scale. If the U.S. was to have inflation, then how would the U.S. go about addressing it? The best way that we've gone about addressing it in the past is raising interest and raising up more jobs, providing more income for the people who need it, and also basically essentially burning money, getting rid of some of the excess fat that's in the economy. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But how we solved it with the Great Depression is, well, World War II. People suddenly had bigger things to worry about. And America turned from basically an essentially depressed country. I talked about this earlier, but basically America kind of has clinical depression. We hate ourselves as a country, and usually at wars, America turns from a self-hating country into suddenly a country that's extremely patriotic and extremely strong, and it's kind of interesting to watch. But I'm looking at this on a strictly national type level. And what happened to all of my titanium? Where's the rest of my silos? I need 3 more silos. What happened? Hello? Look how it turned out the dollar's worth less than half that it was. That's not related to World War II. That's not even remotely related to World War II. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Stop it. Grab the silo. Place the silo there. Alright, that's a whole lot more silos than I meant to print. Oh well. I just needed 3. You're not talking about World War II? I am talking about World War II, though. Because World War II is one of the big example of how we solved, kind of, inflation as a nation. And let's see, that should be all of the bombs. It feels like that's not, though. So we had 3 originally. So 3, and 2, 4, 6, 7. Did we have 3 originally? I think we might have had 2 originally. I'm gonna call it good. I have enough to make a round anyway. I'm good. Calling it good. I don't care. I'm sick of making bombs. I bet you never thought you'd hear that phrase come out of my mouth. Vesenia. Interestingly, the halfway point, I think, is when the crater will stop being a crater and just be the new Novus. Because then Novus will actually be a minority of Novus, which is weird, but also really cool. I mean, it already looks like somebody's taken a big old bite out of the planet. Oh, nuts. I never did the switcheroo. Well, I guess no time like the present. And switch, and place, grab, and grab, and place, grab. Switch, and place. Man, I've done this so many times. Nova's project is really an endurance project. And it got like a billion times harder with the hotfix that the devs put in place. I actually had a dev drop by my stream once. Kind of interesting. I showed them the Novus project, and I talked to them a little bit about how the update screwed me over, but I'm not expecting them to do anything about it because there's not really anything they can do. Because it's literally just the problem of one player against the problems of thousands. I mean, I wish they would change it, but nothing I can do about it. How's the music, by the way? Is it balanced out well? I mean, it looks like it's balanced out well with my desktop audio, my game audio. But let me know. And switch. And switch. Man, we've produced so much hydrogen, it's ridiculous. Nope, not that. Grab that. There we go. Yoink. Alright. Yeah, the whole discussion about inflation, it's complicated, man. I don't think that it's as simple. I'm not gonna go out and say that you're wrong. I'm not gonna go out, Spyro, and say that you're wrong, because I do not have a huge knowledge base on this. I'm not an economist. I paid attention in school, but that's it. I'm not an economist. So I'm not gonna go out and say that you're wrong, necessarily, about how to fix inflation. I am, however, gonna say that I disagree that inflation is easy to fix. As evidence, I would submit that the trust of people is lost. We had a huge increase in the need for military workers and soldiers. And then a lot of women actually started working and took over the workforce, and even sports. These two things importantly started a money circuit flow, which brought us out of depression. Yeah. And it took time. The depression was not solved immediately as soon as World War II started. these kinds of things are not fast solutions. They take years. It took like 2 or 3 years when the US was not actively fighting, but providing military services to other countries. When the US wasn't fighting for itself, really. But when it provided those services to other countries, it gave the economy a stimulus that it needed. So I would just say I think we disagree primarily on how easy it is to solve inflation. I would submit that inflation is not as simple as, oh well, you suddenly create more. Hello. This is kind of weird. That's kind of interesting. I don't see that very often. What was I saying? Oh, right. I would submit that it's not as easy to, picking my words carefully, but it's not as easy to solve as you're saying it is. What you're saying is certainly a very good way to solve it that definitely works, but I would also have to say that it's not going to fix it in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. Because things like trust have been broken on a fundamental level with inflation, and that takes time to build back up. Looked into this, see how this would work, and this is the easiest and fastest way to fix it. No one wants to do it, though, because they're all too stupid to see that it would actually give them more money than it would actually cost. I would have to disagree. When the world doesn't necessarily... When all the experts don't necessarily agree, and they say that it would cost more money than it would give, I would always assume that because I am not somebody who has studied it for a while, I'm not somebody who has gone to an accredited school, gotten a degree, gotten PhDs in economics, I would say that I would have to believe them. They actually did it, but they won't. Again, I find it... I take issue with saying that I know better than leading world economists. I have to take issue with that. I can't just go around and say, oh, well, everyone's too X, Y, or Z to do C. I don't think that that's a conclusion that I, as a person, am qualified to draw. And I don't think that unless you have a degree in economics, and I don't know if you have a degree in economics, you might. Unless you have, studied economics for years and years and years and years and years, then I don't think that you're necessarily qualified to say that all the experts are wrong about this. I'm not trying to disrespect your opinion, and I'm not trying to say that you're absolutely 100% wrong. I'm just trying to put on the brakes a little bit, People in charge are the stupidest in the world for the most part. Well, there is the appearance of stupidity for a lot of things, but the appearance of stupidity is not actually necessarily real. The appearance of stupidity is planned often. You know who the current president is, right? Yeah. President Houseplant. It's my nickname for him. But I would say that he's just a figurehead at this point. The president is not the ultimate arbiter. President can't fix things. The president is just in the executive branch. The president can enforce. The president cannot legislate. So the president cannot fix anything. It's up to the legislative branch to fix things. And that's where the real government happens. In the legislative branch and the judicial branch. Both of those actually have more power than the executive branch. They just need the executive branch to function. It should be in an old person's home? Well, I'm not in a place to call that. I would generally agree, but I'm not in a place to call that. Trump was fixing things, we're not getting into that. Yeah, I don't want to get into which president was good, which president was bad, because really it's to pin it down to one particular president does not is an oversimplification of many issues. It's not something that we can just say one president was better than another because of X, Y, or Z. It's not so much the president themselves, it's the people who are behind the presidency, the people who are actually running things behind the scenes. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But the president is not the only one doing things. In today's economy, a lot of the presidents are figureheads. That's just kind of sad, but that's how it is. Oh, crap. But yeah, I think doing a lot of thinking. It's very good discussion, and I actually really enjoyed the discussion. And Spyro, I appreciate you being willing to elaborate on your points instead of just getting into a super heated discussion. So I do want to say I really appreciate you being willing to have a halfway sane discussion. That's kind of rare today. Have you ever seen a person in a position of power and actually thought they were doing a good job? I don't have an answer to that, but here's the reason why. I have an answer to why I don't have an answer to that. But the reason is because I've been in both positions. I've been in both positions of power where nobody thought I was doing a good job, and I've also been in a position of a lack of power where I thought nobody above me was doing a good job. However, when somebody who is not in a position of power says that somebody in a position of power is not doing a good job 100% of the time, that's not the case. The law of large numbers and the law of statistics. Oh, hold on, Spyro. Hold on, dude. Hold on. Calm down. I'm trying to have a calm discussion here. The law of large numbers says that let's say they were a monkey just doing a totally random job. Then they would get things right 50% of the time. You have to be getting something intentionally wrong in order to get it wrong more than 50% of the time. That has to be an intentional effort or a statistical fluke. So, with that being said, let me point out that often a large number of the people who say that so-and-so is doing a bad job, quote-unquote, doesn't necessarily take into account all of the factors that the people who are actually doing said job have to take into account. And I would give you back a challenge and say, how do you know that you would do better in their spot? At the end of the day, you can't really prove that you would do better in their spot, because when you're in their spot, suddenly you have to deal with the same problems that they deal with. Have to be doing things to only benefit certain people. I think that's definitely some politicians. I don't think that I don't think that we can safely say that's all politicians, though. I don't think there's anything to warrant saying that that's all politicians or even a vast majority of politicians. I don't think that there's any really concrete way to say that, because that's not provable. You can look and see who benefits from the situation, and certain people, and the rich do tend to benefit, but sometimes that's not because the rich, that's not because of the system, that's because the rich are exploiting flaws in the system. It's not every loophole that the rich exploit is created intentionally. Can't be bought to do something you say is wrong. As much as I would like to believe that, I can't really, because humanity is fundamentally flawed, as I'm sure we all know. So there is an issue. Everybody has flaws. So to say that you're a quote-unquote good person, how do you know? Well, okay, let's take you at face value. Let's say you cannot be bought to do something that you say is wrong 100% of the time. Nobody can buy you to do anything, even if somebody offered you $1 billion to go do something, you thought it was wrong, you wouldn't give into it. Let's give you that for the sake of argument. Let's give you that for the sake of argument. However, what you cannot guarantee is you cannot guarantee that every single person on the planet would